What is up, team, and welcome to another episode of the True Fitness Podcast. If you're watching this on YouTube, sorry for my attire. I just finished a workout and my shirt was sweaty and I was cold. So we're jumping right into the affiliate semifinals that is about to go down. It is starting today, May 1st. It is Thursday. It's 11 a.m. Mountain Standard Time. Just finished my personal training and I'm about to head to the gym to get my crew that is here. Well, 4 athletes throwing down and trying to see where they stack up and potentially punch a ticket to the CrossFit Games. Look, I wanted to hop on here and give my thoughts just as a review on the programming in itself. I'm not going to dive deep into any mindset strategies, any tricks or tips, because honestly, I'm going to spend my time injecting that into the clients that I work with personally that are participating. So good luck to all of you that are throwing down and qualifying. I'm sure that if you qualified, you got a coach in your ear giving you strategies. So I don't need to do that for you. Look, here's the deal. The test is very thorough, to say the least. The one piece of feedback that I will jump out and give is that we could probably go one of these tests without being overhead in some way, whether that means a hands over our head, pulling ourselves, hanging, or pressing. That'd be kind of nice if at least 20% of the test didn't involve that. I think, again, it's a reflection of training overall. It's a reflection of how people need to prepare for the test. And I think sometimes that can give just a bit of misled way to enhance fitness based around the test. I know we're in this point where we're trying to refine and separate the methodology from the CrossFit Games. And I don't mean separate from a business model or anything like that, but I think it's important to have a mature perspective on what the CrossFit Games is as a test for fitness versus the way to build GPP, general physical fitness, for those that are coming into CrossFit affiliates. And that's something that I try to stand on quite firmly, that there's a drastic difference, and there's a drastic difference in the way that you should train and prepare, but not everyone's mature enough to identify that and identify what a test might look like versus the way to actually train on a regular basis. And of course, to further develop their fitness or their client's fitness. So with that being said, we're going to jump right in. Let me pull this up on my screen here so you guys can take a look if you're watching this on YouTube. Again, thank you for joining me. Look, here's the deal. I want you guys to chime in. I want you to feel free to give your own opinions about the workouts below, but I most importantly want to answer any questions and deliver feedback for you in regard to some in-affiliate experiences, challenges that you're having with your nutrition practices. It's funny because we're in the middle. Well, we just started. We're about almost a week into a new Rise 45, the summer program. And it's 45 days where people are making a life change for themselves. And they're doing all this stuff to better their health and to look good and feel good for the summer. And it really, it's beyond me on how like people do a challenge like this and they realize how hard it is to actually hit their macronutrients. And it's the reason that they signed up for the challenge. It's called a challenge. And it's a challenge for a reason. It's because it's challenging. And so in order to get results that you seek, typically you need to leave your old self behind. And if you want to do it in perpetuity, you got to be willing to change who you are and change your life habits and change the way you perceive food and change the way you eat food and change the way you prepare food and change the way that you. Sorry, guys, I'm just turning into Coach Conway. All of a sudden, it kind of oozes out of my pores from the moment I open my eyes in the morning. But the idea, hopefully, you guys are picking up what I'm putting down. So many people want to be someone different without changing who they are. And that's not how it works. And so Rise 45 is a challenge for many people. Let's dive into these semifinals. My apologies. Workout 1, as many rounds and reps for in 15 minutes of 3 ring muscle ups, 3 back squats, 30-foot handstand walk. Okay. So this is going to be ascending in repetitions by 3 every time for the muscle ups and the back squats. The 30-foot handstand walk is going to remain the same. Here's why I like this test, is because there are skills involved, but this is for the top tier athletes, the ones that are participating for a prize here. This is a fitness test. This is a fitness test at one of the highest levels that you can have it. Now, people look at things like the ring muscle ups and they're like, Adrian, that's not that many. Well, that's going to accumulate on someone fit enough to back squat and fit enough to handstand walk. And you might also say, Adrian, that's not that much handstand walking at once. It's 15 feet out and 15 feet back. Okay. Plenty for someone who is fit enough to back squat and ring muscle up. Again, as we get deeper into the rounds, we are going to see the work being done continue to increase, and you'll start to see slowing and you'll start to see stoppage from those who can't do the work fast. People look at this and they're like, oh, it's a skill test. They're thinking about the muscle ups and the handstand walk. And here I am thinking about the back squat, because I love the back squat. CrossFit Dave, team, I had been praying for a workout like this from about 2011 all the way through 2017 and 18 when I was really trying to prioritize competing, and no dice for your boy. But here we are. I'm well removed from competing. Maybe I need to shake off the dust and kick off the rust and go do some things and go train some fitness. But honestly, oh my goodness, I love this workout so much. 15 minutes is a long time, folks. It's going to start really, really long, meaning that athletes are going to get through 3 or 4 rounds of this and be like, oh my gosh, I'm only 6 minutes in. What do I do? What dare do I do? But they're going to understand and have a really harsh reality of those that come out too hot, that aren't thinking about breaking the back squats up early and often. That little release of time under tension at a load like that is going to move mountains for the way that you can perform in the final 5 minutes of this workout. So I think people have to be mindful of that. I like the 15 feet of a handstand walk. Again, people are already skeptical and saying things like, well, it's not long enough. It's not this, it's not that. Just shut your mouth. It's a test. And the idea is to execute the test. It doesn't matter. Again, we forget that this is a general physical preparedness test. There's no way for a test that should look, right? It's CrossFit. It's their test. They can make it look however they want. We could all, me included, could sit here and run my mouth about the way a test should be structured and what creates good balance and all these things. Yo, the cream will rise. I think as we walk through these 5 workouts, we're going to see very clearly that the cream will rise. So let's just all do the test to the best of our ability and stop being skeptics of the way it's designed. Like, this is a good test, well-rounded, and there's always going to be holes and things that we can nitpick to criticize. But you should ring muscle up, you should back squat, and you should handstand walk. And if you do it as many times as you can, and you end up being one of the top 20 in the world, you're going to have a good chance to continue to advance onto the CrossFit Games this year. That's the way it slides. So that's workout 1. I really like it. I think it's awful. I think the stimulus will be so potent that athletes will not want to, nor likely be able to repeat this. And that's why it is so beautiful. Okay, let's go to workout number. Where am I at here? How did I jump to workout number 5? What did I do? Oh, I was on the wrong one. My bad. Okay. Workout number 2. Workout number 2 is a beautiful descending ladder. 20, 18, 16, 14, 12, 10, 8, 6, 4, 2, dumbbell, double dumbbell, overhead walking lunge and GHD sit-ups. Yes, folks, it's not a typo. It's 70 pounds in each hand for the men and 50 pounds in each hand for the women. The time cap is 20 minutes. This is strength in CrossFit. When we talk about strength in CrossFit, it's not really based on just how much can you bench press, how much can you strict press, how much can you deadlift, how much can you back squat, not even how much can you front squat, not even just how much can you clean and jerk and how much can you snatch. We love our strength definition as it's the productive application of force. There are going to be people who think they're strong like this, and those muscles ain't going to do you no good if you can't appropriately stack your body in the vertical axis, or AKA the static plane that we refer to as the frontal plane in CrossFit. If you can't get stacked there and keep those 70 pounds and 50 pounds without touching each other, without leaning on each other, and have the coordination and timing and balance and stability to do a forward walking lunge, you can't play this game. You are not going to the CrossFit Games if you don't do this workout well. And it's a measure of strength. These GHD sit-ups don't even matter. In fact, if you're smart, you're probably taking your time on a GHD sit-ups. People are going to say, well, Adrian, I'm going to struggle on the dumbbell, so I need to do the GHD sit-ups fast. Is that right? Are you sure that's right? Because if you got a coach in your ear telling you that, I'm going to tell him, you're wrong. Because when you go from something you struggle with, and then you're like, I'm going to double down on my strength here, guess what happens to the thing you struggle with? You struggle worse. And if this logic doesn't resonate in your brain, then you probably haven't really tried it, because it don't work. I've coached it. I've done it myself. I've coached it through countless athletes. I no longer let them do those things a few years now because it doesn't work well. You have to eat your humble pie on the movement that you struggle with. Put all your focus there. Recover on the movement, even if it's a strength for you. And depending on the context of the workout, I'll say my opinion changes here nor there. But if you blast these GHD sit-ups and then just get back to that dumbbell to struggle some more, and they get more sloppy and your elbow get more soft, it's going to be bad for you. So you need to be able to focus up, saddle up with these dumbbells, and make sure that you keep them as stacked as possible, arms as locked as possible. But folks, don't rush it. There's going to be people who want to go through like small sets, picking them up and putting them down. I don't think that's the way either. I think you've got to get them up, keep them up, struggle here. This is a strength movement. It should feel like that. Belt up, mobilize up and realize that you got to fix this if this is a weakness for you, because this is the overhead games. We play the overhead games. We've played the overhead games since 2007. If you've been tracking, you're either hanging from overhead or you're pressing overhead. And if you don't got that, if you got long arms like me, man, you know how much time I had to spend in my career mobilizing my T-spine, my mid-thoracic spine, because I got long arms and long legs. I got no torso. And a lot of this up-down sport favors those with long torsos, for sure. Notice that even in the hinging movement, which I'll get there, but the clean coming from the floor in this thing, we still got to end up overhead. We still playing the overhead games. I digress. It's a beautiful workout. It's going to be a doozy. Folks, get mobile. If this is a weakness for you, practice more single arm overhead walking lunges in your warm-ups. Practice double head overhead or double overhead walking lunges in your warm-ups. Lightweight, perfect position. Lightweight, perfect position. Lightweight, perfect position. Lightweight, perfect position. That's how you get it stronger. Not moderate weight, not heavyweight, sloppy position. You refine the mechanics that you practice. Practice how you want to play. Go lightweight, do them better. Workout 3. What is it, AC? Heavy Isabel. Good night. Why are we doing this? Why are we doing this? So you're telling me that you want people to do this 3 times, 4 times. Is that the consideration? We could have easily, and I'm being critical. I'm running my mouth same way I tell people, hey, leave it alone. It's a good well test. It is a good test. And it's a good 5 test. But why? We just want to be like everybody else? Man, I don't like that. I don't like that one bit. I like the CrossFit that's like, we don't want to be like anyone else, including whoever came, Rich and or I don't know, JR. I don't know who originated at this point to do Heavy Isabel. And it's just, oh, yo, man, make this 255 and do clean and jerks, and then make that ground to overhead, just a ground to overhead, and let people snatch it, to have a snatch in the burpee run snatch, just to switch it up a little bit. I mean, I got athletes that's going to do this workout 3 times. Redundancy. And I'm in a unique situation where it's like, I got a diverse set of athletes. I got athletes that live here, live there, do all the things. So there's a caveat to that. I don't hate the workout. I just don't like that we're going to have elite athletes that show up to the CrossFit Games that will do it 2 or 3 times. And then those athletes are fighting for a chance to qualify. You could say, hey, well, they need to be fit enough to qualify. I agree. They shouldn't have to do this 3 times, because guess what? Get fitter so you can punch your ticket. Don't got to. Suck it up. So what? I say all those things too. But why? Okay. Ground overhead again, though. You can squat these. You can power these. Again, devastating test. Most repeatable test here. If you mess up the pacing, if you pick up the bar too soon, if you try to go every 7 seconds and you should have gone every 11 seconds, you can make those kind of changes and repeat this. But again, because of how thorough even the first 2 tests that we went through are, and the physiology that's going to be affected by them, number 2 is quite repetitive. Or I'm sorry. Number 2 has a high probability of repeatability, meaning that you physiologically will feel like you can do it again. Same with this one. But then if you think about workouts 1 and 4 and 5, which we'll discuss in just a second, that's going to make these harder to repeat because of the accumulation of fatigue and where you're going to be sore and where you're going to be tired. So we got Heavy Isabel. No surprise. Don't need to say much about that. Workout 4. Here we go. Well. This is disgusting. And when I say disgusting, I just want you guys to know that it means I love it. I love it because that's the reason I like CrossFit. I started to fall in love with CrossFit from a competitive perspective because I was always a weight room warrior. I was always the guy that wanted to be in the gym. I like to suffer. If the CrossFit Games disappeared tomorrow, I'm still going to train the same today. I'm still going to train the same tomorrow. I might find something else to compete in. I'll find something else to train athletes in because I just love to compete and I really like to suffer. And I don't even like to just kill myself every day, but intentionally, I like to push myself to be better at things. CrossFit, when I first saw it and I saw that like there were people who were afraid to suffer, but they were good at it, I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'll beat those guys because they don't actually like what the sport is. I like it. I'll get better at them. I'll catch them and pass them eventually. Or like when a thruster just starts to break somebody and like it's because they put it down, not because they have to, but just because they want to. That's what I love about team stuff so much. Even in 27, the last year that we won a teams, just things that you hear standing in the stalls, like people being like, oh, this workout's going to hurt so bad. Excuse me, what? We're about to go out and compete to literally see who can do this workout the fastest. and you're thinking about how bad it's going to hurt, I stopped thinking about that like months leading up to a competition because and I echo this to my team, you must die to yourself when it's time to throw down. Like whatever you think is comfortable or uncomfortable, the only reason you stop is if it is going to hurt our team to keep going. Now, it's complicated on the team. It takes communication. You got to have self-awareness and also group awareness. That's some high-level stuff. But oh my gosh, you're talking about and thinking about how bad a workout's going to hurt, and then you're literally verbalizing it. Now, unless you're trying to run game on me, which won't work, but unless you're trying to run game on a bunch of other people and like pretend it's going to hurt, although you're going to wipe the floor with them, I say that's cool if you think that's funny or you think that's cool. But I don't. I think it shows weakness. And I think you're acting like someone scared to go out onto the floor to operate at a high level. And that only gave our team so much fuel when we would hear those things. Oh, this is going to hurt. Who's going to take the front of the worm? Oh, are you going to row this? How's it? You hear these kind of things before you take the floor, and oh my goodness, we're about to. So for you guys, hey, look, if you're about to do this, if you've done this, if you're just going to watch people do this, and you think they see this and they're like, hey, this is going to hurt. Good, good. That's why you play. That's why you play. It's not for when you're feeling fresh and you can lift the heaviest and all that. That's all cute. I want to see what you can do when you're hurting. That's what the fittest human on earth is going to do. That's what someone who wants the chance to be the fittest on earth is going to do. They're going to relish in that opportunity. And they're going to, you see, I start to get this little twitch like crazy in my eye when I talk like this, because now, I mean, I can tell it's May 1st. It's like go time. It's getting closer to go time. Folks, I'm not competing at anything this year. And like, I start to train harder in my garage by myself. No one is there. No one cares how fit I am. I'm not even going to sign up and win anything this year. And I start training harder in like January leading through the open. And then as I get another bug, like May, late April, early May, because it's like, it's like regionals time. This is like that again, from 2011 all the way through 2018-ish. That's when that was like my time. I would like every year for 70, like that's what I knew. And that's still what I know because now I'm coaching. So I still get hyped, putting my athletes through sessions and coaching them through sessions. And it's just competitive time of year. I apologize. We've been wasting time. You've been looking at this workout and it's just been sitting here. Hopefully you've had a good chance to listen to me rant and also read the workout. 4 total reps every 2 minutes for 5 rounds. That means every 2 minutes we restart and we go, or you get a 2-minute block, but it's really every 3 minutes because there's 1 minute rest between each round. You're going to run 10 shuttle runs. Out and back is 1. So it's 50 feet, then 10 clean and jerks, then max lateral burpees. Now, here's the deal. These 10 shuttle runs are approximately going to take people between 50 seconds and a minute 05, right? You could go slow, grab back. The big question is, are they going to do touch and go clean and jerks or singles? And this is going to be a hard choice. And I think it's going to differ from athlete to athlete. But I also want to say to the community at large, if we're having a discussion when you're questioning, should we go touch and go or should we go singles? It's likely that you should go singles, even when it's a close choice. Now, I've got some athletes that I think have the fitness that will be able to do touch and go, but that doesn't mean they should. Because if at any round, this costs them only 1 burpee because they went touch and go, like that's too many. Right. And what I mean by cost them is that if it allows their heart rate to get so high and create such physiological discomfort for them that they slow their pace, even when their toughness is there front and center, they're dying to themselves, but their physiology is failing them. They've made a grave mistake. And if they are not on the last interval feeling that way, then they've gone too hard too soon. And so there were different considerations. We were talking about, can you go 3 intervals and then sit out the 4th? Or go 2 intervals, sit out the 3rd, and then finish with 2 intervals. But like you black out and you sprint the run, touch and go, and then kill yourself on the burpees. Now, had CrossFit not made a rule that you cannot sit out a round without doing clean and jerks, well, we'd have considered it, because I think that there could have been some fruit there and a hole in the test in regards to, because look, the bottom line is we're competing to maximize the score, the output. So people could be like, oh, well, Adrian, that's short chain. Shut your mouth. We're trying to win. And if that's not mentioned and if that wasn't covered clearly, we do it, period. For total reps, every 2 minutes for 5 rounds, 10 50-foot shuttle runs. Like I said, 50 seconds to 105. How bad do you want to go and how much is it worth it? 10 clean and jerks. Anyone can look at this and say, well, we could run fast and do touch and go 10 clean and jerks. Right. But now how much time do you have to do the burpees? And then remember, you only have 1 minute. 1 minute to rest. If you really burn it down for 2 minutes straight with only one, that 2 to 1 is dangerous and dirty, right? If you have any familiarity with even shorter work intervals like Tabata, where you go 20 seconds on with 10 seconds off, you can literally pick any movement you want. But if you truly sell out for 20 seconds, not pace and keep moving for 20 seconds, but sell out for that long, and then you get 10 seconds to rest, you're done in like 3 and you got 5 more to go. Tabata's 8 rounds. It's a great way to develop power. It's not a great way to test your true capacity and race so that you can maximize a score. So this is going to be such an interesting test. Now, this is where another piece of feedback that I'd give is make these clean and jerks deadlifts so that we're just hinging off the floor and not ending up overhead again, right? Think about the shoulder girdle, think about the contractions taking place. Would they need to load it a little bit more, or would they need to add more reps to balance out this time that they're trying to pigeonhole these athletes into creating a window for them to do these lateral burpees? Yeah, potentially. But the lesson still remains the same for me. I would love to see where one of these workouts we don't end up with our arms over our head. And again, this is my consideration, not for this test. Grade 5 tests, right? But I think about the way testing influences programming. When we are the leaders of something, we are always having to be mindful of the way people see us, perceive us, and look at us. Now, should we be sending a message all the time? Yeah, we got to, because we're always ready to teach. We're always ready to educate on what this methodology is and what it should be. And should our test online reflect that? Should our test at the CrossFit Games reflect that? Not all the time, but to a degree. This would have been an awesome and easy opportunity for us to make these simply deadlifts off the ground. Or like I said, this is just more of a flavor perspective. You turn that 30 for time into heavy clean and jerks, and then you go ahead and go ground overhead here if we're not willing to make it just a deadlift. Workout 5. I'm almost done. Apologies. This right here, oh man, I've used the word disgusting too much. This is diabolical. Let's go there. It's an AMRAP of 30 minutes, 1,000-meter row, 30 toes to bar, 6 rope climbs. I think everyone understands here that the row is a trap and a pitfall, and it's great. I love that it exists here. I think there's so much time on the rower that athletes will get in their head. Athletes will get in their head about holding a pace. Athletes will start to lose their breath. Athletes will start to affect their grip in their lats. Athletes will start to affect their abdominals and their hip flexors. And then guess what? Toes to bar get harder. And then guess what? The rope climbs are just a little more sluggish. Think about this. Have a pace on the row that you hit, no doubt, minimum. Bust your mother freaking tail on the toes to bar, bust your mother freaking tail on the rope climbs, and then you hustle back and try to get the meters going again before the next person. If you do that every round and the row pace that you selected in round 1 was very sustainable, you will start to pull away because the row will be recovery. And some people are like, yo, the row can't really be recovery. I argue that the row can be recovery if you got what it takes to go good and go hard on the toes to bar and rope climbs, because it's going to add up. The volume will accumulate very quickly. People are going to get into 5 rounds of this likely. And so it's like, okay, cool. What's that look like? 150 toes to bar and 30 rope climbs. Now, I don't know if they'll get through the toes to bar and rope climbs in round 5, but you have the idea. And then when you think about where time's going and the countdown begins, now the row pace matters more. Now the dig matters a little bit more because you're settled, right? Your heart rate's more settled. It's not really going to rise anymore once you get into a certain point of the workout, even if you start pushing harder and you've already now started to understand how to balance the toes to bar and the rope climbs. Now, I'm bringing these toes to bar up early and often. People are going to get off the row and be like, yeah, I'm going to go 20-10. Awesome. Hey, you do you. Do you. I'm going to break it up. I'm going to tell my athletes to break it up. I'm going to try to keep them as fresh as I can for the first 2.5 rounds, so then they can hunker down and be consistent through the further rounds. Now, if people are going to go 30 unbroken and 20-10 and 15-15 and 18-12 like that the whole time, they're just fitter than most of the other people. They're going to go to the CrossFit Games. But when you think about maximizing the potential of a scoring, right, and you think about where you want to seed from an overall perspective, and there's still a decent amount of athletes participating in this as long as they all sign up and follow through and submit scores, which a lot has yet to be seen of what the participation rate will be like for this test, this in-affiliate test. You got to be wise about that, right? It's like, it's easy to garner the bravery and the audacity to be like, okay, cool. Yeah, I'm going to row this pace. I'm going to do this is what the top athletes in the world are going. Cool. You're not one of those, right? Likely you're not one of those, especially if you're watching this, you're not one of those. So when you think about the row, be smart. When you think about the toes bar, be smart. What's going to happen to you after you get 90 toes to bar and 18 rope climbs into this workout? That is what matters. And if you didn't break them up early and often, then you're probably going to get smacked in the face. And not only are you going to have to break them up a lot now, but you're also going to have to rest a lot between those breaks. And that's when the workout's over for you. Not because you're breaking them up, but because you're breaking them and resting, not breaking them intentionally. You got to remember, in workouts like this, long workouts, it is important for you to choose rest and don't let rest choose you in regards to being forced it being forced upon you versus you doing it intentionally. So 30-minute AMRAP. Look, I'm gonna back out of here and wrap this episode up because it's a big week for me and big weekend for a lot of my team. Um, Folks, this is it's a doozy of a weekend. I think it's a great thorough test. I think we're certainly going to see the fittest rise. The cream will rise to the top. Um, I got a few opinions about it. I'd love to see something different than heavy as well. Make it a clean and jerk just to switch up the stimulus, change the weight, and then throw in a deadlift, throw in something that's a hinge as the barbell cycling movement. Maybe even a hang clean instead of going all the way overhead for all 5 out of 5. And you may ask, well, what about the last workout, Adrian? We're climbing rope, folks. You ever climbed a rope? Look where your arms go. And they hang and you're holding and you're hanging and it toes the bar. Boom, 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 boom. Right? So we're pressing and we're hanging every single workout. And so with that being said, affiliate owners, people who program, don't program this way. Give the shoulders a break. I know a lot of you like games programming and you follow it closely and you think it's sexy and it's all these things. It is, but it's not for everybody. So just a reminder to y'all, this is Coach Conway. Good luck to everybody throwing down. If anyone's watching this before they even throw down, I highly doubt I'm going to release it just barely before the codes go out, with that intention that it wasn't necessarily to help other competitors, but it was to just share my opinion with the community. And then, of course, I might have another episode that wraps this up, but I do have other episodes to get to answer some questions that hopefully will bring, of course, the asker some value, but also bring you some value, audience and listeners, athletes out there, please reach out with some questions. And of course, you get it up here in the corner. If you're looking for coaching and programming and getting my style, we have 7 days of free all access in our app. So go to truefitness.com, TTRUfitness.com, or feel free to go ahead and scan this QR code if you're watching it on the YouTubes, and take yourself to get 7 days of free all access to see how we run our True Life program, which is 60 minutes and 30-minute workouts, our True Competitor program, our True Competitor program, which is, of course, reduced competitor training so that you get it done in 60 to 75 minutes. And then we've got strength, gymnastics, and endurance, as well as aesthetics as set alone programs for you to follow your own fitness journey if you're not into all this crazy CrossFit stuff that a lot of us talk about and are very passionate about online. So a little bit of everything is there for you. And that's, of course, a very bias towards me as a coach and as a trainer. I have a very diverse background in the fitness space, not just CrossFit. And so some days I go into the gym and I want to get a good aesthetics session in. Some days I want to go in and do the strength cycle. And then a lot of days I like to go in and do one piece, especially if I can break it up and do a double. I do one of our endurance sessions in the morning or evening, and then I do some lifting and some maybe shorter conditioning in the middle of the day. So nonetheless, team, I'm sorry for the rant. This was supposed to be a 15-minute episode. Keep rising.